Plenty of moments to point out. Naruto is a classic story where the protagonist, Naruto, and his friends grow together as they battle enemies and stay true to their own ninja way. The characters that appear in the story are all fascinating, and they have undoubtedly had a significant impact on the readers. Naruto is not always serious. There are often situations with tears and laughter, as the saying goes. I believe that such scenes contribute to the character's charm and popularity. However, there are a few instances in the story that make you think, isn't this obviously strange, and can't help but point them out. In this video, I will introduce about 10 of such depictions. Please note that this video contains a lot of my personal observations. I would appreciate it if you could understand that beforehand. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so by clicking the subscribe button. Now, let's get to the introduction. Sakura's Genjutsu type setting. The first one is Sakura's Genjutsu type setting. This scene appeared during the Konoha Crash arc in the first part of the series, and Kakashi mentioned it when Sakura was not affected by the enemy's Genjutsu. Originally, Sakura in the first part of the series had a more supportive role, compared to her teammates Naruto and Sasuke. However, in reality, she didn't contribute much to their battles, often being assigned to keep watch or standing by rather than providing support. Despite Sakura's lack of a strong impression, Kakashi's comment about her being a Genjutsu type led many readers to expect her to develop in that direction. However, as Sakura grew, she didn't use Genjutsu in battle. Instead, she became a ninja who specialized in close-range combat, relying on her brute strength. In the end, many readers probably wondered, where did Sakura's Genjutsu setting go? Nevertheless, compared to Naruto and Sasuke, Sakura excels in chakra control. As a result, she was able to learn the cherry blossom impact with her incredible strength and medical ninjutsu. Of course, she can also dispel a certain level of genjutsu. Therefore, the term genjutsu type may not refer to a ninja who handles genjutsu, but rather to a ninja who is skilled in chakra control. In that case, Kakashi's comment and Sakura's growth align and make sense. Still, hearing genjutsu type makes one think of ninjas like Kurenai or Itachi, which can be misleading. Third Hokage's strongest theory. The second point is the theory that the third Hokage is the strongest among all the Hokages. The reason for poking holes in this theory is the existence of the first Hokage, who was hailed as the strongest and the god of shinobi. Why would there be two strongest shinobi? First, let's explain the basis for the claim that the third Hokage is the strongest. The first piece of evidence is simply his high level of skill. The third Hokage is the only shinobi without dojutsu like Rinnegan or Sharingan, who can use all 5 nature transformations. Additionally, he can use summoning techniques, masterfully control the staff, and is said to handle 1,000 techniques, which is why he is considered the strongest. The second reason is that characters like Irika and the author, Masashi Kishimoto, have referred to the third Hokage as the strongest. It's one thing for a character to introduce him as the strongest, but it's surprising to have the author's endorsement as well. Now, let's explain the basis for the claim that the first Hokage is the strongest. The first piece of evidence, like the third Hokage, is his high level of skill. Specifically, these include a wide range of wood-release ninjutsu, the ability to instantly heal wounds, and an immense amount of chakra. Moreover, he possesses a different vector of strength compared to the third Hokage, such as the power to suppress tailed beasts. In the original work, there was no direct confrontation between the two, so it's impossible to definitively say who is stronger. However, both have confronted the Nine Tails, and their battles serve as a measure of their respective abilities. Specifically, the third Hokage, in cooperation with the shinobi of the village, was able to drive the Nine Tails, which had rampaged through the village, out of the village. However, it seemed that the Nine Tails did not suffer significant damage. On the other hand, the first Hokage suppressed the Nine Tails while dealing with the strongest Uchiha, Madara Uchiha, and rendered it incapacitated in battle. In this case, unlike the third Hokage, the first Hokage fought alone. From this, it can be seen that The first Hokage's abilities are greater than those of the third Hokage. The second piece of evidence is that Orochimaru, who knew the third Hokage in his prime, remarked that the first Hokage was stronger upon seeing him. For these reasons, the first Hokage is stronger in terms of abilities. But the third Hokage is set as the strongest in the story. One can't help but question, what does strongest even mean? Orochimaru's demeanor. The third point is Orochimaru's demeanor. In the early stages of the story, Orochimaru was depicted as a formidable enemy, and the root of all evil for Naruto and his friends. Specifically, he plotted to destroy the Hidden Leaf Village and conducted inhumane experiments on others, making him a truly villainous character. In fact, during the early stages of the story, scenes with Orochimaru featured him overwhelming reliable leaf shinobi like Kakashi and Anko, instilling tension and despair in the readers. Even though Orochimaru was weakened after having his techniques sealed by the third Hokage, he was eventually killed by his disciple Sasuke. In a sense, it was a tumultuous and dramatic situation, as he resurrected from Anko's curse mark. However, after his revival from the curse mark, he changed his ways and stopped engaging in evil deeds. In his later appearances, Orochimaru can be seen working part-time at a barbecue restaurant. Running along the riverbank, laughter fills the air. He is alone at the counter having a drink, shouting bugs are disgusting, while running away from insects or yelling what the hell? And in the end, celebrating Naruto and Hinata's wedding by sending a video message. It's hard to believe this is the same Orochimaru from the beginning. And who could have ever imagined him turning out like this? There must be many fans who were struck by the change from a villainous character to a comedic one in Orochimaru. Pain's facial expressions in the anime. The fourth point is about Pain's facial expressions in the anime. First, let's briefly explain Pain. Pain is the leader of the criminal organization Akatsuki, and is a character who is usually calm and expressionless. However, the depiction of Pain's confrontation with Naruto is significantly different between the manga and the anime. In the manga, his expressionless face remains the same, but there are occasional scenes where strong anger is conveyed through his expression. In the anime, in addition to his expressionless face, there are scenes where his face is distorted due to an attempt to create a sense of speed by laughing or shouting. There are many scenes where viewers might wonder what happened to Pain's dignity. In particular, when Pain says, "Do you hate me?" he says it while standing still in the manga. In the anime, however, he says it after taking Naruto's attack and being buried up to his neck in the ground. The way Pain is depicted is quite different between the manga and the anime, so fans who have seen both probably found it very impressive. Naruto's unpopularity during his childhood. The fifth point is Naruto's unpopularity during his childhood. During Naruto's childhood, he was disliked and alienated by the people of the village due to the presence of the Nine Tails sealed within him. A point that makes one want to interject here is why people who knew Naruto's father didn't get involved with Naruto. Naruto's father, the fourth Hokage, risked his life to seal the Nine Tails within Naruto. Most people in the village know this and praise the fourth Hokage as a hero who saved the village. However, even those who knew the fourth Hokage in his lifetime didn't deeply involve themselves with young Naruto. Furthermore, Jiraiya, who gave Naruto his name, and Kakashi, the fourth Hokage's disciple, did not get involved at all. Even the third Hokage, who knew the circumstances, cared about Naruto but did not give him deep affection. For these reasons, one can't help but question why no one confronted young Naruto. Tobi's cheerfulness. The sixth point is Tobi's cheerfulness. Tobi is a member of the Akatsuki, and from his first appearance, he was a mysterious character, hiding his face behind a mask. His true identity was the mastermind behind the Akatsuki, essentially pulling the strings from the shadows. Very few people within the Akatsuki knew Tobi's true identity, including the leader, Pain. So, why do we bring up Tobi's cheerfulness? It's because his behavior, speech, and atmosphere are entirely different when he is Tobi compared to when he reveals his true identity. When revealing his true identity, he had fewer reactions. No emotional fluctuations, and a dignity befitting a boss. However, when acting as Toby, he makes friendly remarks, dozes off in the middle of Deidara's conversation, gets bummed, and has an over-the-top reaction. It's hard to believe that they are the same person. There were likely many people who wanted to point out the difference in the gap between his true identity and when he was Toby. That's why we introduced Toby's cheerfulness this time. The principle of transformation. The seventh point is the principle of transformation. The transformation jutsu is relatively easy to learn, so most ninjas can use it. As for the effects of the jutsu, Sasuke described it as making the opponent believe they've landed an attack and then exploiting the opening. However, when looking at actual examples of the transformation jutsu, it's often the case that the user clearly takes the enemy's attack before turning into a log. If they were to switch places with the log before taking the enemy's attack, it would make sense. But in reality, the user takes the attack, lets out a cry of pain, and then, with a puff of smoke and a popping sound, a log appears in their place. From this, it's clear that the attack hit directly. And logs don't usually say ouch like a person would. If it were the shadow clone technique, the series of events mentioned earlier would be possible. However, the activation of the substitution technique and Sasuke's explanation are slightly different, which makes it feel strange, doesn't it? We introduced the principle of the transformation jutsu and the mismatch between it and actual situations. Tenten's strategy during the Chunin exams. The eighth point is Tenten's strategy during the Chunin exams. This strategy was executed during the very first written test of the Chunin selection exam. The purpose of this test wasn't simply to answer questions, but to test the ability to gather information without being noticed by others. The difficulty was set so high that it was virtually impossible to solve on one's own, making the test designed for cheating. By the way, since cheating by directly looking at others is considered a violation, participants must secretly activate a jutsu to obtain information. Sakura was able to solve the test on her own, but Sasuke, who graduated at the top of the academy, gave up in an attempt to look cool, saying, "There's no way I can solve this." On the other hand, it was a scene with a point to poke fun at, since even Sasuke, who usually can handle anything, admitted he couldn't do it. With that long introduction out of the way, an even more questionable strategy is Tenten's strategy. Here's a rough explanation of Tenten's strategy. The plan involves attaching a mirror to a kunai fixed to the ceiling, adjusting the mirror's angle with a wire, and sharing the answers reflected in the mirror with oneself and allies. The fact that the wire runs from her hands to the ceiling is also worth pointing out. Despite this bold strategy that would obviously be noticed by the examiners, they surprisingly didn't catch on. While it's hard to imagine that they wouldn't notice such a plan, against all odds, they managed to pass the written test without being detected. For your information, this strategy is physically possible to recreate in reality. However, if you were to do so, you would definitely get caught. Amidst the unique techniques like the mind transfer jutsu, the Akugan, and parasitic insect jutsu, Tenten was the only one to execute a physical strategy and successfully break through. We introduced this kunai strategy as it has been pointed out by many fans. Eye transplant. The ninth point is eye transplant. This eye transplant was mainly performed by the Uchiha clan, who possessed overly powerful ocular powers. We will explain why it is necessary to transplant eyes. When the Mangekyo Sharingan, one of the ocular powers, is activated, the user's vision gradually deteriorates. But transplanting another Mangekyo Sharingan can prevent this decline in vision. In the original work, Uchiha Madara transplanted eyes from his brother, and Sasuke received eyes from his older brother, Itachi. And thus, they obtained the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan that doesn't suffer from vision deterioration. This setting is also somewhat astounding. But what makes us want to poke fun even more is the eye transplant itself. Sasuke was subjected to a genjutsu by Itachi's Tsukuyomi, in which he had to gouge out his own eyes. The excruciating pain made Sasuke scream, and the loss of one eye brought a great sense of despair to the readers. However, in the final stages, when Madara stole Kakashi's eye, he approached Kakashi at an incredible speed and snatched the eye without injuring him, then placed it in his own eye socket. At that moment, Kakashi only let out a gah sound but didn't seem to be in much pain. As mentioned earlier, the despair and tension in Sasuke's case changed drastically. But in Madara and Kakashi's case, there is no such impression. And fans have pointed out that it's like Lego. In reality, it's difficult to snatch an eye with just fingers, and on top of that, the eye must be removed without causing any damage. It should be physically impossible, but the fact that Madara managed to do it and Kakashi's mild reaction are both right for commentary. Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Lastly, we have the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Since we have already explained the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, we will omit the explanation here. A point to ponder about the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan is that if the two awakened individuals simply exchanged one eye each, wouldn't that suffice? In other words, it's about exchanging one Mangekyo Sharingan eye with each other. Even if characters like Obito, Kakashi, Kirigakir's AO, and Danzo only possess one eye, with ocular powers, they can still activate the abilities of their ocular techniques. As a result, by transplanting one eye from each other, one can obtain the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan in that single eye. This would lead to the birth of two individuals possessing the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan at once, making the Uchiha clan even more powerful. In the original work, there were very few ninja who possessed the Mangekyo Sharingan, so such a situation did not occur. However, even if we take it seriously, it seems possible to have an Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan in just one eye. Therefore, the point to be made is that there is no need to force both eyes to become Mangekyo Sharingan. Well, it's clear that having the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan in both eyes is stronger than in just one eye. Conclusion. How did you find it? In long-running manga series, the settings can change slightly between the beginning and the end. This is also true for Naruto. This time, we introduced 10 scenes where, upon closer examination, one might feel whether it's about the settings or the actions. That's it for this video. If you found this video interesting or if you're a fan of Naruto, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching until the end.